And welcome to the Hall Priest Universe. I'm King HP, also known as Father, and today we got some craziness from San Diego Comic. Well, really yesterday, Hall H, and it has to do. I mean, you see the logo, right? So you see it, Avengers, Doomsday. You know what I'm saying? May 2026. That is where we're at, and a lot of moving parts to this because we're not just getting that, which they've obviously moved away from Kang Dynasty. We got the Russo brothers coming back for not only Avengers Doomsday May 2026, but Avengers Secret Wars May 2027. So it's back to back, right? Now the Russos, and I believe that's the writing staff with them as well. But the Russos are well known for Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. So yeah, you brought your heavy hitters, and then with your heaviest hitter, they do an unveiling of Doctor Doom. That's right, Robert Downey Jr. Now, I've seen some reviews that most people seem to they're on board. They're on board, but I've seen people like yeah. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why this is good. Kang was not looking good, and it wasn't anything to do with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors looked dominant in the role. However, he was written to not look dominant from the jump street. We watched multiple variants be destroyed and beaten every time we saw him on screen. That should have never happened. So when we first saw him, he who remained, he got beat. He was killed by Loki and Sylvie. All right, we'll take that because it's like, oh man, but we know a more powerful version's coming. Fast forward to Loki 2, right? Because we're skipping Quantumania. Multiple versions of Victor Timely are, right? Even at the end of the Loki series, they said something worse is coming, something worse is coming, right? So then we get an exiled version of Kang, the Conqueror, one who which the other Kangs feared. And he can't beat Ant-Man. So when you give us Loki season 2 and Victor Timely is getting beat and shredded multiple times over and over, I mean, we've seen this guy get beat like 20 times. So how powerful does he look if he ever comes back at the Avengers when you've seen Ant-Man's like, I can take care of this. Get the ants, you know what I mean? Wouldn't look good. So that's bad booking. You know what I mean? That's just bad. And to rival that, in Infinity War, we saw Doctor Strange tell Tony Stark, we're gonna get to in a minute, over 14 million possibilities of us fighting. And we only win once. So you're not gonna see Thanos get murked like that prior to his arrival. So I'm not saying I'm happy with the way they've done it, but I'm very excited for what the future holds. And with Robert Downey Jr., that is a big pivot that people just really didn't see coming for a couple of reasons. One, it was a lot of talk about him coming back as Iron Man, and the price tag that he carries. So him coming back as the big bad, I mean, the guy who started the MCU is now the guy who's going to end it because pretty much after Secret Wars, it's going to be a reset. Right, we can recast characters if we want. We can do whatever we want. We can have a universe that has Avengers, mutants, Fantastic Four, Inhumans, all that stuff from the gate instead of doing a Avengers only story and then trying to slowly maneuver guys in as you get rights back to your characters. That's where the problems were, but they have mitigated that, and they've done so very well. Now, Robert Downey Jr. playing my man's my man. That's right. And we got a Fantastic Four clip. People got to see my man. So, are we excited about this? You should be, right? Marvel had a hell of a weekend. And if you didn't see Deadpool Wolverine, Go there. It starts to set up the whole mutant thing, which was already being set up at the end of the Marvels. We get the end credit scene where Monica Rambeau ends up in a new universe. You're gonna keep seeing this now. Theory crafting, right? They don't have to show you. I know 2026 is not that far away. We're almost done with 2025. It's basically August, basically, right? So you got what, 5 more months left in this year. I don't think they have any big movies left. Next year you have Falcon Winter Soldier. You're also gonna have a Thunderbolts movie. You have a Fantastic Four movie the following year. I think you have about 4 movies, maybe 5, until you get to Avengers, right? So we're gonna have to see more incursions because we saw the anchor being. I'm gonna have to put a spoiler at the beginning of this. All right. So if you haven't seen Deadpool or Wolverine, there's gonna be spoilers. But anyway, at this point, yeah, with these anchor beings, there's a new concept, right, to the MCU. So what if someone is controlling the incursions? Right now, people are like, well, there's no Doc. We haven't seen Doctor Doom on Earth 6. We haven't seen a Wolverine on Earth 616, right? So what are we saying? What am I saying? He could pop up. He could be a guy that's in another universe that has figured, because in different universes they have different things laid out. Earth 616 don't know much about multiverse. When they went to Earth 838 in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they actually had numbers for all of the multiverses that they had discovered. America Chavez, she'd been to like 50 or 70 different universes. Deadpool was jumping around from universe to universe. Every universe has their own. In Multiverse of Madness, the Reed Richards we got there, he was saying an incursion is caused by blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean he's right. That's just what his science has shown him thus far. Because if he doesn't know that someone's controlling incursions, and that could all be Doctor Doom from a different universe that we haven't seen. And that makes the fight for the heroes so much harder. Because when he gets unveiled and they see it's Tony Stark, doesn't mean it's Tony Stark. That face is what they... Remember, spoiler. So if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, dip. Because I'm a spoil. We've seen now in Deadpool Wolverine, Chris Evans, they thought he was Captain America. That's what Deadpool knew him for. Oh man, Earth 616. Oh man, Cap, come on, yeah. And flame on. That man didn't know nothing about no Cap. So how hard would that be for Tony's protege, Spider-Man, to have to stop the guy? I mean, yeah, he's probably going to be pretty similar acting too. I mean, give or take, it shouldn't be, but the guy who started the MCU is not going to be the guy who ends it. You know what I mean? And that's going to be crazy. So big surprise there. I'm happy to see this. Marvel is doing huge numbers right now. And for them to give us that Fantastic Four first steps, it takes place in like the 60s time frame a while back, and we get the Fantastic Four. It seems like we're not getting an origin story. How they got their powers? Nah, buddy, we jumping into the meat and potatoes. They already got the flying car. We out here, and their main villain, Galactus. So they already up. We're up. Oh yes. Oh yes. So a lot of things good for Marvel. What can we expect? We still got the Agatha show at the end of this year. I don't know if it'll cause an incursion or there'll be reference to an incursion in that show, but there may be. And that's all they need to keep doing. People having different forms and different variants popping up or whatever, an incursion talk. And that's all they need to do to really set up the Avengers. That's it. That's it. Because once we get to the event, Thanos really only saw him like what, twice? Maybe 3 times at the end of the first Avengers movie. Right? Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan was working for him, then Roman betrayed him. And then at the end of, I think it was Avengers Age of Ultron, I'll do it myself. So we saw him. But when you saw him, the Avengers were making, somebody is playing a manipulative game and pulling strings on it. Okay, all right, cool, yeah. But when he popped out with Infinity War, the music hit. Like He was a whole entity. He was his own thing, man. And then he beat the brakes off the Hulk. Like, what? You can't even fight, bro. You just strong as hell. You just can't fight though. So yeah. Doctor Doom don't have to show up 5 times. And if you're gonna do to him like you did to Kang, don't bother. Don't bother, because you're just ruining him. Because Jonathan Majors was doing a great job as Kang. However, if you every time he pop out, he getting beat up, I'm not looking forward to that big bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if he would have, imagine he would have won. Imagine Quantum Mania, he popped out, and the only time we saw him was when he was having that dialogue with Ant-Man, and he like pinned him to the wall, and then he had MODOK, and MODOK was more serious version, and he defeats MODOK, right? And then Kang comes back and was like, I knew I couldn't leave you. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when we saw him, Ant-Man might fear him. Like, yo, there was a guy. If that guy comes out, I mean, whoo, right? Victor Timely, they shouldn't even did no variants where they're getting beat all the time. They shouldn't even done any variants where they're getting beat all the time. I just think that was just pointless. To see Victor Timely get beat. You know, it's just it's not good. So we got Robert Downey Jr. He is back. Avengers Doomsday, saddle up. You know what I'm saying? More to report. We'll definitely take some deep dives into this. We'll look back at some of the Avengers movies and shows, because definitely want to make sure you're tapped into the Disney Plus shows to see the different groups and where they're at. Because, you know, is Wanda Maximoff still around? Like, what Avengers are even still around that can tangle with Doom? Because this is first before we get to Secret Wars. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think it was a step in the right direction. It was several steps in the right direction, and Marvel's looking pretty good right now. Again, if you haven't seen Deadpool Wolverine, go check that out. Go check out our revisit series. We're going to drop some more here in a little bit, and that's pretty much it, man. We got Galactus coming, Fantastic Four first steps. We got Doctor Doom coming by Robert Downey Jr. with the Russo brothers in charge. It doesn't get bigger than that. So I'm King HP. I'm signing out. Until next time, peace.